Welcome back to the Truth Booth, where we talk about faith, culture, and everything in between. We speak God's truth right into the center of what's happening in culture. So today we're switching it up with a fun, real-time life catch-up and some holy hot takes on things that are happening right now in our culture. Because is Justin Bieber okay? What's going on with the Diddy trial? And everything in between. The world just feels like it's getting crazier and crazier, and it's harder to ignore. Plus, we're going to share a little bit about our summer plans and what God's been teaching us lately. So grab your coffee, take a walk, hang with us. Let's go.
Let's get it. Woo! Roll that music. Can you add this in so they can hear us making these awful sound effects? Anyways.
All
hey,
right.
Britt.
Hey, what's up?
How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be back.
I know, it is good to be back. It's been a minute.
It has been. Our first 2 episodes came out.
They did. Shout out to everyone who listened. Should we give some special shout outs to the people?
Sure.
That we know that
Yeah.
listen?
Shout out to the people.
To the people. First being my mom.
Aww.
I knew she would watch and she would listen. And she posted on her Facebook.
Oh,
She said, "This is my new favorite podcast. You're my favorite mom."
so sweet.
So,
that's awesome.
yeah. Shout out to my mom. And also, I wanted to give a special shout out to Alex and Jess from New Jersey who've been listening. Jess Love and Alex, you know they come to camp every year.
Yeah.
And so, Jess, I've taken your feedback in. I'm using it today. This episode's for you.
What was the feedback?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
Just kidding. I'll tell you afterwards. It was good stuff.
Were you nervous for the episodes to be released?
No.
Really? I kind of was.
I think I just got so busy where I
Forgot?
forgot. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, they're out. Sick.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to be because
Yeah.
I've done podcasts before and stuff, but I don't know, this felt different. And
Here
it
we
was
are.
fine. It wasn't that I was like embarrassed or anything,
Yeah.
but I don't know, maybe it was just excitement. Not sure. It was good.
Who knows? I mean, we're back now.
Yeah.
And we're excited to be back. And so thanks for tuning into this episode. Like Britt said, we're going to cover a lot. This is going to be a chill episode. And I think we officially determined that, like, this is for the girls.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
This is for the girls. If you're watching right now and you're a guy, send this to your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Or
Send
you can
this
keep
to your
listening.
sister.
To your sister. Your
Your
mom.
yeah.
Yeah. Do whatever.
Yeah.
But this is for the girls.
I after listening to our second episode, I guess it was, where we talked about Christian influencers, I did listen back.
Yeah.
Did you?
I hate listening.
I know. But I wanted to be able to, critique myself, critique the pod, whatever. And so I did. And afterwards I was like, I have a lot I had more people who I would have recommended that I really like.
Do you want to mention any?
Yeah. I feel like we should talk about give an addendum to
That's a very big word. Would you like to define?
like an additional segment
yeah. Now you're speaking my
to
language.
extend some of that part
Yeah,
of the
let's do
episode.
it.
I know we want to talk about like any new podcast books, whatever too. So this kind of goes along with that. Because I think, so in the first episode I said Josh Howerton.
I wish I would have said Josh Howerton.
I said John Bevere.
Lisa's really good too.
Lisa's really good too. She got a shout out.
Yeah.
And who did you say? Ryan Visconti.
Yeah, Ryan Visconti, Pastor Sam.
Pastor Sam, of course. Yeah. And so
Brittany LaBeouf.
we do follow a lot of pastors.
Yeah.
But I realize, which is great because also they do post content online for like Instagram and TikTok and everything, but they also preach.
Yeah.
What I didn't mention was the people who don't preach and their ministry is primarily
Yeah, that's good.
like a paraministry online. And so there are a few people that I follow, especially apologists and things.
Yeah, give him a shout out.
I love Red Pen Logic, Tim Barnett.
Very good.
So if you're not familiar, look him up. He's big on TikTok and really like Gen Z youth age, especially in that age group. But I mean, any age could watch him and kind of follow along where he responds to popular TikToks, tweets, whatever. Most famously, the Red Pen Logic is where he takes the image of what used to be called a tweet. Now it would be a next post, I guess. And he circles phrases or words and provides like a logical explanation to how to think about that thing as a Christian using scripture as a reference and sort of explains why we would disagree with that take on as a Christian. They're usually pretty progressive Christians or atheists or something. And he goes through his thought process, basically, which I think can be really helpful. When you see some of these more viral memes and things like that, at first glance, sometimes it can be like, oh, that's actually what, how, like, I feel like that's wrong.
On the surface, it, like, sounds right. But but you think about it for a second, you're like, that's actually very wrong. And he's very good at, like, articulating why it is. And so
because sometimes you don't know why. You're like, I know that that's not right, but I don't really know why. So he's a fave.
We were actually going to do, we should still do this, we were going to do a series in youth ministry where we, like, kind of get some of those tweets and we give students, like, the red pen, hey, like, circle what's wrong with this and, like, write out why. And teaching students how to think critically about, like, these hot takes that, like, so-called Christians are putting out there, but really they're progressive Christians, which boils down to not actually being a Christian. And so we thought about doing that. We should totally do that.
We should do a podcast episode like that.
Yes, we should.
We can teach people how to do that.
Yeah, I love that.
Because I think it is really valuable, especially with how much we see. And even in some of the Facebook groups and stuff that I'm in with moms, they'll share posts that people in their life post and just say, like, hypothetically, how would you respond to or think through this? Not that you would comment on it or anything, but when you see something and you're like, this is so frustrating, but I don't actually know how to verbalize why this is so frustrating to me or why it's so antithetical to a Christian worldview. And so it is just a helpful exercise, because I'll read the comments of how people, like, what people say as far as how they would respond or how they think through this and the scripture they have to, like, back up that. And it's so helpful.
I love what you post on your story sometimes. In the moms groups. People are crazy.
Oh my gosh. We should add a segment to this podcast.
People are insane.
The craziest thing I've seen in a mom group this week.
Wait, you posted something while I was at Hershey Park the other day, and I, like, read it for half a second, and I was like, that's actually crazy. I want to go back and read it. And I ran out of time.
It was probably something about daily. I see posts from women talking about if they should divorce their husbands.
That is insane.
Yeah, asking your group of strangers. This is a group. It's like a fitness one. And so not related to that at all, but it has hundreds of thousands of people. And these women post to a group of strangers about, this is what's happening in my life, considering divorce, and just, like, putting it out there for the crowd.
Do they post anonymously?
Sometimes.
That is even crazier. That is
sometimes
insane.
And the people commenting don't know them, don't know their family, don't know their husband. And this kind of relates to our last episode too, because we talked about the importance of being involved in a local church and how you need to be seeking counsel from people who know you and your family, especially as Christians. That's a biblical principle. But even the things people will post in there, I don't understand. Oh, I think the one that you were talking about though was which sort of weight loss injection someone should get. They're like, should I do Ozempic or Mounjaro? Pros and cons. I'm like, go see a doctor. Go see a medical doctor, dude.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
That is insane. I'm a part of some Facebook groups for youth pastors. And those are insane too. And actually, what is that account that talks about, like, the funny, crazy, like, youth ministry stories? You know what I'm talking about? It might be called that. Like, I don't know. I can't remember. But the guy that, like, hosts it is actually a part of some of those Facebook groups. And he's like, hey, everybody comment, like, your craziest youth ministry story. And they're insane. All that say is that some Facebook groups are just, like, wild. It is the Wild West on Facebook. Especially Facebook, too. Like, you wouldn't get that in, like, Instagram communities or anything like that. On Facebook, people just don't care. Like, they don't care.
And people like millennials and above love Facebook still because of the groups. I feel like Facebook isn't as I think probably your age and younger, they literally only have Facebook for the groups
that or like they're applying for a job or something, like they
through Facebook.
Well, I know, like, some people will make a Facebook, oh yeah, I applied for a job and, like, I need to be in, like, this Facebook Messenger or, like, whatever. So I think that's why people do it too,
because they never post anything.
Exactly. But also I feel like Gen Z, like, instead of, like, the online community, which they very much do want to be a part of. I love online stuff, all of that. But, like, I feel like they crave more of, like, the human interaction and, like, being with their friends and, like, posting, like, what do you guys think about this? And, like, an online group would be, like, cringe, you know? Unless it's, like, on their Instagram story, like, oh, should I get this or should I get this? But, like, the inner thoughts, like, I feel like that's for, like, X.
Yeah.
And stuff. And it's, like, funny.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That's why I love being on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Shout out Elon.
Yeah, me too.
So,
I do. I love that.
They're wild. I have some crazy tweets that I've seen lately where I'm just like...
You know what's really crazy, though, is how much you have to intentionally shift your algorithm.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to see more of something, you can do it, but you need to let the algorithm know this is what I want to see.
Very much so.
Because it is so easy. Like, I'm sure ours look very different, but it is so easy to sort of get in a silo.
Yeah.
And it will just keep repeating, like, the same... I've trained, like, my TikTok algorithm is pretty good.
I get nervous on TikTok because, like, I'll be scrolling and then I accidentally like something and I'm like, no, I'm going to see 40 more things about this and I don't want to see it at all.
Yeah.
And then I have to do, like, you hold down the screen, it's like, not interested. Why are you not interested? This is irrelevant. Like, all
or you
those
swipe
things.
really fast.
That works too?
Yeah. Like, if you see TikTok and you, like, know immediately, like, you either recognize the person or from the first... Just scroll past it quick and don't spend time on it.
Okay, conspiracy theory time. Do you think that your phone tracks your eyes, like, and where you're looking at things, like, on TikTok, and, like, not just, like, how long you're looking at something, but, like, the way you're looking at something and all of those things, and it feeds stuff into your algorithm? This is where I'm like, get my tinfoil hat, because, like, I
think it's possible. Like, I mean, the technology is definitely possible.
Exactly. And they're tracking my eyes anyways when I get in my phone.
True.
So
your face.
We all thought it was weird when they asked for the thumbprint, but now they have our eyes too. So
that's a good point.
I'm just saying, like,
yeah, you know, I don't know, but I do think it is all the different ways that it does it takes into the consideration curating your algorithm is, I mean, they've said they design it like that on purpose so that it's addicting.
And there's, like, CEOs of companies that have stepped down because it's gotten to be too much.
Oh yeah.
Like,
so I mean, yes, I believe a lot of conspiracy theories about social media, but also I'm not going to delete it.
Yeah. It just is what it
you know what I mean? So I try not to think.
I'll just close my eyes and be on social media. I'll just listen.
I try to make it as positive as an experience as possible, which is what I mean about, like, curating the algorithm of who and how to watch. Because I also, like I was saying to Pastor Caleb earlier, one of the things, because I watch a lot of apologetics and reactions to, like, cultural things and how to defend Christianity through that, I also get fed the hyper-critical accounts.
Yes.
Where all they do is critique.
Yeah.
And it almost can paralyze me sometimes as a Christian of, oh, I can't follow that person now. Oh, I can't listen to that song now. Oh, I can't do...
It's just, like, the little nitpicky things.
Oh, it's incessant. And so we talked about this last episode, too, of just, like, open hand versus closed hand things and... what really matters.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just gets exhausting to be like, oh, that person's a false teacher. That person. That's like, okay. So I've had to
and it's hard too when it's always just a clip. Obviously, you're not going to get on social media to listen to a whole sermon when you're scrolling through your Instagram feed. You're going to get those clips. And people are always going to take the worst moments to be like, this was taken out of context. When in reality... the clip was taken out of context, too.
Yeah, no, for sure. Which, I mean, that kind of leads us into one of the things we want to talk about today, which is the Christian music stars or Christian affiliated, because it recently came out that both Forrest Frank and Brandon Lake had songs that were in the top 100.
That's so cool.
Top hits or whatever, but not of the Christian category of, like, all songs.
Yeah.
And so there's been a lot of enthusiasm and talk around... how exciting that is and what that means for the Christian music industry.
But it also goes deeper.
Yes.
It goes much deeper than just Christians making music.
I want your holy hot take on this.
Which one are we starting with?
Let's start with...
Can we start with Forrest Frank?
Yeah, let's start with Forrest Frank.
Okay, shout out to Forrest Frank.
Have you seen him in concert?
No, but my friends have, and they said it was so good. Have you?
No, but I also same.
We should just go.
Yeah.
I know he's on tour. I think he was already through here.
He was. He went to both ends of Pennsylvania already.
Next time. But I've heard his shows are just, like, incredible, and he has, like, worship moments. They're very family friendly. And he even, like, released a TikTok or a reel, whatever, the other day where he was like, this is why I don't cuss in my music. One, because he doesn't want to, but also there's so many families at his shows. And so I very much appreciate that.
Yeah.
But also the music that I've listened to, like, from him, it's, like, good. The lyrics are good. They're solid. Like, some of the lyrics are funny. Like, listening to like what the words are that he's actually saying. And so I really enjoy Forrest Frank. I actually bought one of his vinyls when his Child of God album came out, because I also just like love supporting like Christian artists that are doing a good job. One thing that someone said to me the other day that I can't get out of my head is that he's this generation's Toby Mac. And I can't look at him the same ever again. So that's that. But I'll let you take it away.
Alex really likes Forrest Frank's music. Like, that's his ringtone when he wakes up. And I do think it's generally, it's just like positive, uplifting, but it's not worship music.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say too.
Yeah, it's not like songs you sing on a Sunday, which we need music like that.
Yeah.
I think, I think it's great. I think it's awesome that he appeals to so many different ages too.
We need stuff for teenagers to listen to.
Yeah.
Especially like in the lobby on like a Wednesday night for youth group. There's so much Forrest Frank, because we're not going to put on just like anything we want to, or like what they're listening to on the way to school or anything like that. We want to create a positive atmosphere that's reflecting Christ. And so I feel like his music does that. But yes, it's not worship.
Yeah.
And so talk more about that if you would like to.
Yeah, I think that can be one of the critiques from like hypercritical people is that, but I think just use your discernment of like, okay, but this isn't something that you'd sing on a Sunday.
Exactly.
This is just music that you can enjoy while you're, driving in your car or cleaning your house, and it's still God honoring.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
We need clean, good music. I'm a fan. I think that it's great. I think especially for younger people, they have someone like that they think is cool.
Yeah. He's very hip.
Yeah, and I've seen clips. I've never been to a concert, but they say like the gospel is shared.
Yes.
He talks a lot about how important his family is.
Yes,
because he does have
that.
A daughter, I think.
He has,
small.
I think he's been married for a couple years, and he has a son.
Okay.
And so he always posts too, like,
yeah.
I love touring, but like my favorite place is my home with my wife and my son.
Which is an amazing message to be sending young people.
Yeah.
And so I love that. I
do too.
I think it's really cool.
I also heard that one of the concerts that our friends went to, he brought like a family up on stage and like prayed over them.
That's
and
awesome.
So that's just like, that's so cool to me.
Yeah.
That somebody would do that like during their concert, where like they don't have to, but like they love the Lord so much that it's evident throughout their music, but also their actions throughout a concert, to be like spirit led enough to like, hey, come up here. We're all going to like, like stretch our hands towards you and pray. So I love that.
Okay, second holy hot take.
Jelly Roll and Brandon Lake.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? I actually don't know, because I mentioned this to you earlier, but we didn't talk about it.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Like, and that's
of the song or of
I haven't really listened to the song, but I think it's just like, I understand what Brandon Lake is trying to do. Very much so. He's like trying to get out there. He's trying to get into the world, but still not be of it. But I think that you have to be careful when you're doing that. And so, yeah, as Christians, we're not supposed to look like the world.
Yeah.
Like we're supposed to be set apart. And so, yeah, if you want to go more into it.
My holy hot take is I just don't like the song.
Really?
No. I don't like it.
I should have listened to it before
this. It's called Hard Fought Hallelujah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard it?
I've heard some of it. I've heard it like on TikToks.
So I feel like around me, because country music is
I love country music.
I do too.
It's the summer too.
Exactly. But it's kind of bluesy country music. I don't know.
Let me look up the lyrics.
Because I think because people like country music and they like Jelly Roll and they like Brandon Lake. But I see a lot of, I don't know. I see a lot of hype around the collaboration, and not that that's a bad thing. I just, because it's sort of spanning this audience that becomes then bigger than the Christian world, which again is not a bad thing. I also believe that there will be temptation to not be as clear about beliefs, clear about the gospel, whatever.
Yeah.
However, I also have heard that, for example, at the ACMs last week, they performed. Yeah. Or at least, actually, I don't know if they were both there.
I'm not sure. I thought they were.
Okay, they were there together singing the song, I think. If not, at least Jelly Roll was there.
Okay.
And someone said, I did not see this for myself, so take that with a grain of salt. But they said that he shared the gospel.
That's great.
On the stage at the ACMs, which is awesome. Yeah. I just don't know much about him. And it seems like a lot of people who are really into it, they already know and liked Jelly Roll.
Yeah. Well, I've heard Jelly Roll on that other song with Post Malone, the Losers one.
which Post Malone also is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so not great messaging. And so it's just like being careful.
Yeah.
Obviously, like as Christians, not all of our friends are going to be Christians, but our core should be Christians. Your best friends should be Christians, all of that. And that also just flows into who you are affiliated with in the world, which, I mean, we're going to talk more about that with Diddy. But
HollyWEIRD.
HollyWEIRD, they're definitely weird.
The closer that Christians get to HollyWEIRD, the more I'm like,
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too. And so, yeah, I also saw that Brandon Lake went out with Jelly Roll at Stagecoach, which if you don't know what Stagecoach is, it's like Coachella, but it's country.
Yeah.
So, and it's out west. I think it's in like California, Arizona, Nevada, one of those things.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but like Lana Del Rey was also there. And like they all posted a picture together, which is like cool. Like I'm glad that Lana Del Rey is in a picture with Brandon Lake to like show like, hey, Christians like can be like friends with people. But again, you just kind of have to draw some hard lines.
But also a lot of the artists who are, and John Cooper from Skillet, he talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
Because Skillet always performed at secular stuff too. And
Were they at Warped Tour?
Probably back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he feels very strong that he never wanted to just perform for Christian audiences.
Yeah.
And again, same with Forrest Frank. Like I think that's similar. And and I know and appreciate that. The problem is that if you're performing at these, these secular adjacent or whatever platforms and you're not clear about your beliefs.
Yeah.
Like if Brandon Lake came out and said that he's a conservative and he believes that this about marriage and this about sexuality.
Yeah.
What do we think would happen?
You would think would be popular amongst like the country crowd, but it's not. Like there are some country artists. Woke. Yes, they have gone woke. And so, yeah, it's just, it's being very clear.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's what makes me like about it because he doesn't talk about that kind of stuff at all. And
still a great artist.
Yeah. Like not that he's like not a Christian or anything, but when you're kind of platformed like this, and yes, you can talk about the amazing love of Jesus and you want people to be transformed by that and all of that. Yes, agree. But it concerns me that if he were ever to be asked directly, and we've seen this with other Christian artists as well, they give vague answers, they're not clear, and it ultimately deceives people because they don't hear the true message of the gospel.
Yeah.
And so now that that's happening,
is going to set people free. It's the truth that sets you free.
Yes.
Not
so
just
that's my concern. Whenever I see so many like they're like, oh, he's like secular people saying that, knowing that they would cancel him in a hot second.
Oh, yeah.
If he said anything to the contrary with any artist. That's when I'm like,
Yeah, it's not just a Brandon Lake thing. We're not just like picky on Brandon Lake.
Yeah, it's just a good example because right now it's so, I see that song everywhere. It's the top hits or whatever.
Yeah.
And people are like, this is a great sign. This means that Christianity is being more accepted by culture and whatever, and this and that. And that could all be true, but also just,
Yeah. Or a different view of Christianity could be being accepted.
Lukewarm Christianity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. But no, that's good stuff.
So yeah, it kind of transitions into like HollyWEIRD and what's happening in Hollywood. And that's one of the Hollywood is just so dark.
Yes.
And so I do think it's so great that we are bringing light into that space in any way that we can as Christians. But anything is redeemable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's a long history of some really dark things.
Yeah.
And I even think about, Robbie and Landon Starbuck talk a lot about this because they were in that world. Robbie was like a producer. Like they know it well, and they've talked about how just dark it is and have been very outspoken about it. And we've seen what's happened as a result for them. And the more stuff just keeps getting exposed, as it will, I think it's just becoming more obvious that
absolutely
it's even more dark and twisted than we could have ever imagined.
Very much so. And so part of that is the Diddy trial.
Yes.
That has just kind of exploded lately.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been so busy that I have not like looked at what's actually happening. There's been like stuff that has resurfaced on TikTok of like the elevator, like all of that,
Oh,
like the hotel,
yes,
all of those
yes,
things that I'd
yes,
seen
yes.
before, but like they're starting to come back.
Yeah.
And so would you like to tell us, not like to, but will you tell us
Yeah.
more about what's happening with the Diddy trial?
Yeah.
Kind of like the takes that you've seen and the takes
Yeah.
that you have.
Yeah. So
Obviously, we know that it's
I'm not
very dark.
I'm not a
but
legal expert, but I follow a lot of lawyers who are covering this trial.
You could be a lawyer.
I used to want to be a lawyer.
Really?
Yeah,
You'd
that
make a
was one
great
of
lawyer.
my like career aspirations as an eighth
The more
grader.
you know.
But so this is a federal case. So it's the United States of America against Diddy. It's a big deal.
Yes.
I feel like you don't get charged with a federal crime unless they have a really good case against you. And so what's interesting though is the things that he's getting charged for, like the actual charges against him. I think they include like sex trafficking, RICO, bribery and trying to, so they're really specific charges. And so the trial started last week.
Okay.
It started with Cassie, which is his ex-girlfriend, the one where the viral video went around of him like kicking her and
Yeah.
whatever
Terrible.
else. She's pregnant. She's very pregnant. And so they had her testify first. But because it's a federal trial, there was no cameras allowed in there. And the only information you have is what the journalists who are in the trial report on when they leave.
Yes.
So it's kind of, I think the Ghislaine Maxwell trial was similar in that.
Yes.
So there was only sketches.
That was insane.
Yes. So it's very similar. And it's kind of like, you have to wait to the end of the day or during breaks to hear what's going on. And so the first week just concluded. The second week's starting now, the time that we're filming this episode. And it's supposed to be about 8-ish weeks long. This
So
is
we can
very
definitely like
beginning.
talk about this like
Yes.
as it goes.
Yes. And one thing that is very clear is that there is a whole web of other people who are involved with this.
Yes.
That knew about it, that attended the parties, the reputation that Diddy has in Hollywood is like a known thing, which is one of the parts that just creeps me out and just, again, it reinforces that Hollywood darkness.
Yeah.
And we see this in so many ways. With this case, I think it's highlighting specifically sexual perversion and the normalization of that and these just like crazy escapades. Like it's just not even appropriate to talk about because it's just so disgusting.
It is. Yeah. It's just
sick.
so evil.
It's so evil. And hearing the description of the events, seeing that video of the way that he treated her and the fact that he was able to pay someone enough money to cover up that video for as long as he did.
And also like that's in public. Like it's at a hotel. And so when you think about what would actually happen in his home where there are no cameras that people can get to, like he's not paying people to get rid of the cameras in his house.
Yeah.
Like it's just insane that like that would be like something that we can actually see happening. And now we're getting an idea of what was happening, but also like you were saying, the web of people, because I remember seeing on social media, like different actors and actresses be like, oh yeah, the Diddy party. You have like Ashton Kutcher who was like, oh yeah, like Diddy parties, like someone's like, oh, like what's the story? And he's like, I can't share that one. Or you have like Ellen DeGeneres, which we know that she is a crooked woman.
Yeah.
And like just all of these people who were so for Diddy until things started coming out. And then
Gone.
You see Ellen moving to the UK. You see Ashton moving out of his house. I don't know if that one's like necessarily true, but I did see a headline like that. I'm not trying to like gossip, but I'm just saying the things that I've seen connected to this trial of people trying to clear their names or literally get out of the country. And I think Ellen used Trump as like a get out for that. Like, oh, Trump's president now, I'm out. No, actually, like you're about to like be exposed for everything that you did behind the scenes. And that's biblical too.
You know what's ironic? One of the reports I saw is that Diddy was seen reading a Bible.
Of course he was. And I hope that he was.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are just some things where...
We should talk about that on a future episode of like prison redemption and prison ministries and all those things. And,
it gets very deep.
It does. And I have a lot I could say about that. But yeah, there's so many... It's just such a big web. And I think that it turns me a little bit into conspiracy land.
Oh, 100%.
Because there's also conspiracy theories around that the raid of his home was actually to gather and get rid of evidence that would implicate political figures as well.
Makes sense. It would not surprise me.
So I would not be surprised by that at all, but like we will never know that.
No.
So
absolutely not.
I don't know.
And I feel like none of us are conspiracy theories anymore.
Yeah. It's really just like, let's see what comes out.
Exactly. And there's just some stuff that's never going to come out.
Yeah.
And so it's just using discernment. Yeah. And that's why I'm glad we're Christians and we have the Holy Spirit.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Imagine trying to discern all of like the lies and like the false like narratives like happening in like the media and the news and like Hollywood. It would just be impossible. But luckily as Christians, like we have an advantage. Like we have the Holy Spirit within us and he helps us process and think of things that we normally wouldn't think of. And so it helps us also just like spread the gospel throughout all of it. Because as we're seeing the days get darker, God's light is going to shine brighter. And so.
Yeah. I mean, even thinking about, you know, like music artists and this trendy thing right now as far as sort of, I don't know how to say this, dressing up as the devil, essentially.
Yes.
With the masks and the horns and the outfits and the, like, it's so, I don't like to throw around the term demonic because I think it can get overused, but dude, that truly is.
Blatant.
It's blatant.
Yeah.
You're trying to look like that and it's so dark. And
like, why would you feel the need to do that anyways? Like, what goes through your head? Oh, I'm going to dress like the devil today.
It's
like,
very bizarre, but it does seem to be it's like trendy to do that or something.
Yeah.
Which is,
I don't get it.
Is weird.
Yeah.
But also people say things like church hurt.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and it's like, okay.
Yep.
Well then. But even, I mean, let's talk about Justin Bieber. He's tied into all of this.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's a lot of conspiracies about and
Justin
theories.
and Diddy, too.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
There were conspiracies that, like, Justin Bieber spent, like, 24 hours with Diddy.
That's not a conspiracy. That really happened.
Really?
Yes.
Like, it's crazy. And, like, you also, like, we're in the point where we are discerning, like, and not that this, like, matters in our day-to-day life, but it's good to talk about, like, is Justin Bieber okay? Like, he doesn't look okay, but why does he not look okay? Is he on drugs? Is he trying to get out information that the media doesn't want him to get out? And so he's like not eating, like we don't know, but there are concerning videos of Justin Bieber surfacing at the moment.
Yeah. And people have a lot of assumptions because of how close he was with Diddy and Usher and sort of how all of those relationships formed and how young he was and knowing now what we know about Diddy, that the man is clearly a pervert. And so what could have happened to Justin? Like, there's so many assumptions that can be made, but clearly, I mean, some things aren't assumptions. We know that he was very close with Diddy. Yes. We know that when he was signed as a music artist, he was under the supervision of Usher, who was part of Diddy's. Like, there's a lot of things that are factual, and so seeing this all happen in real time, and I feel like believers are like, we just want Justin to be okay, and which I agree.
Yeah, I pray for his soul. Like, I pray that like he truly like just has an experience with the Lord where he's just like transforming his heart. But there's been some like concerning things that Justin Bieber has posted before, like when it comes to like
smoking pot all the time,
smoking pot, also just like pro-abortion stuff, like whack. And so, but also like, have you ever watched like a video of Justin Bieber just like interacting with people? He's kind of weird. Yeah. Like, but he's funny.
I haven't, but
like it's so interesting, and I think for a long time I just chalked it up to him being like a child actor or a child
for real,
star.
I was just gonna say that like, child stars are some of them are a little off the rocker.
Like they're just like a little off sometimes because they're growing up in the spotlight. They don't have close friends all the time, and even if they do have close friends, it's just those who are around them, and they're in the same industry, being fed the same lies, and a lot of the times like
or they're treated like adults when they're children.
Exactly, and like their parents are shoved like to the wayside, and they're being parented by like executives and all these things that want to push like marketing and all of these different things and messaging on them. And so their brains aren't fully developed when they're being fed all of these lies. And so they're going to be off a little bit because of that. But it would not be like too far off to say that like things happened to Justin Bieber that made him a little bit off.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like so bad for him because of that. And so I pray that like his mind and his heart are just redeemed by the Lord, especially as he's raising like a new baby.
Yeah.
And like leading his wife and all of those things. Like we just talk about Justin Bieber like so lightly. Oh, like this is happening. But like there are real implications as to like what have happened to him that are going to affect like the kids that come after him. Like it's much deeper, I feel like, than just the media.
Yeah, even just being exposed to things that, I mean, Usher talks about, Usher has come out and said like he would never allow his children to live the life that he lived because of the things that he experienced and was a part of, was forced into.
Meanwhile, he brought Justin Bieber into it.
Yeah, but now that he's a parent.
Yeah, he sees it very differently.
It's like did you watch the Quiet on Set documentary?
Oh,
the Drake Bell.
Yes, that was insane.
It was disgusting. Parents, it's just bizarre to me. If you guys watched the Quiet on Set documentary or have comments about child stars, drop them in the comments. We want to hear.
It's crazy, but also with Drake Bell, like his dad wanted to have a say, but I think it was his mom that like wouldn't let his dad have a say, and all of these horrible things happened to Drake Bell for years, and he felt like he couldn't say anything, and so. That just speaks to why people need to be like strong parents. You are not your child's friend. There are times where
don't let your kid become famous.
Yes, and don't let your kid become famous. Don't take them to auditions. Just keep them at home. It's okay.
Yeah, no.
They don't need to be like sheltered.
Well, a lot of the parents in the documentary said that they would never, and the kids said they would never let their kids do it. Now that they're adults, but even like the parents would probably make really different decisions.
Absolutely.
But the Bible talks about like how the love of money and just greed and the things the Bible calls sin, if you let them into your life, which I think that is what happens sometimes in these scenarios. These kids were the breadwinners for their family. Yeah. And it's a lot of pressure on them.
For sure.
And they were getting paid a lot of money.
And I mean, that also brings into the conversation of like family vloggers. We should definitely do an episode all about family vloggers because it starts off with like good intentions most of the time, not every time, but like, oh, I want to film like my kids' lives. I want to remember all these like memories. And also like now people are just getting rich and famous off of it. But a lot of these kids are like, they have too much spotlight on them. They didn't ask to be filmed or anything like that. They're just growing up with it, so it's normal to them, but parents aren't thinking of the implications later or anything like that. And I'm not saying that about like people who like just like post their kids online and like post pictures or any of that. Like that's fine, and like use your own conviction within that. But it's the people who are
exploiting
whether knowingly or unwilling or unknowingly or knowingly, like their families for money. And also, can we talk about, this is so random, Honey Boo Boo child star, and her mom did not set aside any money for her.
Wow.
Have you seen those clips?
No.
Obviously their family is a wreck. Like we've watched their family be a wreck for years. But like Honey Boo Boo, I think her name's Alana, calling out her mom over and over and over again. What do you mean you do not have any money for me? The show was literally named after her. Justice for Honey Boo Boo.
Justice for Honey Boo Boo.
I feel bad for her. Honestly, she put in the work.
It's a whole thing. And I feel like there are less TV shows now just because of like how culture's changing, and it is more YouTube and social media because you have more control over that. Yeah. It's less production, all of it. It's just wild. And honestly, the more I see about even posting your kids online at all, the more I'm like hesitant to with a public platform. Yes. A lot of public figures that, I mean, I don't have a huge following, but the ones who do, they do not post their children.
But still, like, you're a conservative Christian who is outspoken about your values and your faith. And so that puts more of a target on your back and on mine. And so it's just being extra conscious of like, okay, what should I post? What shouldn't I post? I want people to know how I'm living because I want to be an example. Like Paul, like follow me as I follow Christ. And so it's really just discerning, okay, God, like what is safe for my family specifically? And like, what should I do? Yeah. And it's just being open to the Holy Spirit. And if it's just like, hey, don't post that one thing. Yeah. It's obedience in the big things and in the little things that matter.
No, I totally agree. We definitely should. We'll do a follow-up episode on this vlogger thing, because I also did a deep dive kind of about why so many of them are Mormon.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And we could talk about the like Mormon show that's like really popular, the
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives or something. Yeah, I haven't watched it.
I like refuse, but I might watch an episode just so I can talk about it.
We should watch it together.
Okay.
And not talk about it together and take notes.
Okay. Yeah. So upcoming.
Yeah.
But let's wrap this up with what's God doing for you this season? What are you praying about? What's going on?
I think what's been on my heart is just the verse that talks about how godliness matched with contentment is great gain. And so those are the gains that I'm trying to make in my life. Obviously, I'm not playing off of like the gains muscle wise.
That too.
But just gaining all that God has for me in this season. I'm still young. Young-ish. I'm 26.
You're young.
I have a great hair. It's very bright.
No, I can't see it from here, which means it's not that bright. It's bright in this room, so I feel like I'd be able to see it.
But it's just like being open to whatever God has for me and like fully letting go of control of how I think things should be or how I think things should go. But truly just like diving into the word more than ever to like find that true contentment in Christ, that just whatever happens, like God has my best in mind. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
I have been so at the beginning of the year, I read the whole Bible in a month.
Let's go. You shredded.
I shredded.
I started.
I did the Nolene Cedra version though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she has like a plan.
Oh, cool.
So I did that one. But I've been thinking about doing it again. Now
we
that it's
should shred.
Now that it's mid-year.
We should shred together.
Yeah. Let's shred together. If you want to shred the Bible, which is you read the entire Bible cover to cover in 30 days.
It's intense.
It is really intense, and you have to go into it knowing that you're not going to retain and absorb every single thing that you read. However, throughout the process, you can take notes, books, scriptures that you want to go back to throughout the year, things that stood out to you. Like you can still do all of that, but it is a commitment.
Yes.
It took me about an hour a day, I think.
For me, what I would do is I would have my Bible app playing the audio on 2x speed, and I would read it at the same time and have my journal open.
You know what I was doing at the time was in the mornings I would get up, if I would like get up early and I was going to work out down in my basement, I would, same thing, I'd be like on my spin bike and I'd be listening to the scriptures for that day on audio. Yeah. For like part of it. And I'd follow along for when I was like warming up and then when I would start working out, whatever. So there are a lot of different ways to consume it. But yeah, I've been thinking about doing that again. So let's do that. Maybe in June. Maybe let's start in June.
Can we do it in September? What? No, yeah, we can do it in June.
Or July. Let's do it in the summer because I feel like I am like...
You have more time in the summer.
Well, and because I did it at the beginning of the year, I feel like it's like that halfway point.
Fair.
Obviously, I have someone reading my Bible, but I was so consistent and so I could feel such a difference. Yeah. And we were also doing prayer and fasting at that time for the 40 days. Like it was really good. So I'm going to, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So that's one thing that I feel like God's been teaching me is like, I feel a conviction to be in the Word more. Yeah. And I tend to be a high capacity person. Like I like a lot going on. I don't get stressed or overwhelmed by that. I
thrive in the chaos.
I thrive in that. Yeah. And so we've got a lot going on in our family, but we have, certain goals and all of that. We're on this like debt-free journey. And so we're working really hard. Dave
Ramsey, let's go.
Yeah. We're in Dave Ramsey land and going through that. And it's going great. God has been so amazing, and just like that whole journey so far. It's been 6 months since the beginning of the year. That's awesome. So we're trucking along. Yeah. But it's definitely like a long-term thing. Like that's not just something that is short-term. And so just continuing to feel contentment to what you're saying, like in that journey, knowing it's for the long haul, and whatever happens along the way, not freaking out about it. Absolutely. And just knowing that it's all in God's hands and it's his economy anyways, and the money that we do have and that we are earning is for him. And I just he's changed so much about my thought process around finances and how to be God honoring in that, not for obsession with the money, but to what we can do to honor God with our finances, especially if we didn't have any debt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's been something that Like,
two things.
He's been really.
One, contentment is not just a season; it's for every season.
Yeah,
because
that's good.
You're always in a new season, whether you're just married or you're just having kids, and like, oh, I wish like I was at this part of my life, but contentment is just lock in.
So
you
good.
know, as the kids would say. Number two, did you know my mom talked to Dave Ramsey on the phone? She was
recently.
No, it's a couple years ago. Oh. She was like on his radio show.
Yeah,
she like
I listen to it every day.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you should go back and listen to my mom.
Yeah.
She like had a question about like something in finance, and she was like, I can just call Dave Ramsey. And so she called Dave Ramsey and got on the show.
Yeah. What people don't know too is that there are several personalities now on the Ramsey show. So it's not just him.
Is his daughter too?
His daughter,
Rachel
Cruz. She was at Devoted a couple years ago.
I really liked what
I
she
love
did.
her. They have Dr. John Deloney, who he has a PhD in psychology or counseling. That's cool. They have a few other there's like 6 or 7 personalities, so it's not just him, and they do 2 people host each episode.
Oh, nice.
And so you do get like varying perspectives on things, and it's just encouraging to me because sometimes people get awkward talking about money in real life, but when you're like in this mindset, it's really encouraging to just hear people like constantly reinforce the reasons that you're doing it. And so I just like watch people do their debt-free screams all the time, which so cool. Lizzie told me, like I talked to Lizzie Carnes about this because they shared a testimony about going through Dave Ramsey and whatever. Them. Amazing. Shout out Lizzie and Ben. Yay. But just watching the debt-free screams and it like, it's just so encouraging.
You should do your debt-free scream on the podcast.
Honestly, listen, I would love to do that because I don't think we'll probably go physically there to do that, but some people wait until like after they pay off their house.
We should go to Nashville.
Yeah, go to Nashville to do the Dave Ramsey scream.
That's it. We're going.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's what's going on in my world. So.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning into this episode. As I like to say in my day-to-day life, it's been real and it's been fun, and I would say real fun. And we'll catch you on the next one. Don't make fun of us when we're wearing the same clothes.
Bye.
See ya.